Hello folks, and welcome to another episode of What Are You Doing? This is the show where we highlight woodworking from all around the world. Mostly it's what you guys are doing in your shop, and it's a way for us to show pictures of the projects in progress. We try to encourage each other so we can really see these projects all the way through to completion. Now, I have to explain a little bit. So normally we film this show on the weekend, so we have time to get it edited, uploaded for you all to see on Monday morning. So if some of you sent some pictures and stuff into me this weekend, I'll get it for next week, so it's not that I'm ignoring you. The other thing I got to say too is, well, because it is the weekend, summer's here, sometimes our schedules get pretty busy, and unfortunately my best partner in crime, Dan, is not with us today. He had a prior arrangement to go to, so I got to do this one solo, but I'm sure he'll be back here with us next week. Okay, so let's just jump right into it. We had a lot of new people again this week. I think there's like over 20 people. I'm getting more and more stuff all the time, so this is really fun. All right, so Daryl Matheny. Daryl's new, and he made this coffee table. He made it for his wife out of mostly pallet and reclaimed wood. And what's kind of funny about this is, a lot of us do our designs on SketchUp and all that. Daryl sketched this out on a scrap piece of plywood, and that's what he used for his plans to build with it. So I think it's a great job you did there, Daryl, and we'd like to see more of your stuff. Okay, Jeff Nord. Jeff Nord's been on the show before, and Jeff said, I think he was coming back from a little day trip or whatever with his son, and he found this piano thrown out. So he took the piano, he's cleaning it up, and he's trying to restore it, which is, that's pretty nice. I always love on garbage day driving by. I found some beautiful antique furniture that has been thrown out by people, and they have no idea sometimes what they got. The one was a solid mahogany table that was thrown out. So Jeff's got himself a piano. I hope you know how to play. And this is kind of cool. So Jeff has a photo here of his son, and I don't know if you can see on the apron that his son is wearing, that's a wood chopping time apron. And look, he's even taken Safety Dan's advice. He's got the safety glasses or goggles on. And it looks like he's doing a pretty good job, whatever he's making there. I might have some competition to deal with there, so better keep an eye out for this young man. Anyways, thanks for the photos, Jeff. I truly got a kick seeing your son in that. All right, so last week, John Vigorito sent in his first project, really, which was this fireplace mantle. He never built anything before. First time using a table saw, first time using a router, and now he's starting another project. He's got a table he's going to be doing, and what I like about this is you can see his little SketchUp drawing that he's got here. And this is the part that gets me excited because we get to see every step of the process of it. And I'm real anxious for him to start putting the saw to the wood and seeing how it goes. And sometimes, I have to admit, more often than not, when I do a design on the computer or sketch it out, and I get out here in the shop and I start building, I start to refine it and tweak it. I see little things that I don't like, even though I'm following the plans. You got to learn to trust your eye. Your eye is a great gauge. So feel free to make alterations to it as you're building. But Aaron, I'm excited to see how that goes. Philip Quinn. Philip's posted stuff here on the show before. Philip is really enjoying making cutting boards. And just before I came out here, I got an email from him, and I didn't get all the way through it, but I guess he's doing a great job of selling these. He's making some decent money selling cutting boards, and those are kind of one of those things I think are hit and miss. Either somebody wants a cutting board or someone's got like 5 or 6 of them. So, but the best part is you're making money doing what you love, and you can't ask for more than that. So good job, Philip. Okay, Paul Byland. Paul's been on the show a couple of times, and here he made this, yes, it's a footstool. He made a footstool. And when I saw this, I was cracking up over it. I think he said he made it for his granddaughter, grandson. Jeez, sorry if I didn't get that right, Paul. But anyway, I thought it was a pretty clever design. So for that, Paul, I definitely want to give you a big hand. Hey, I can't help myself. Dan's not here to stop me, okay? Moving on. Mr. Mo. Now, if you've been watching the show regularly for the last few weeks, Mr. Mo has been working on a corner in his shop. He's got plumbing out there. So he had a toilet. He's putting in a little corner sink. And then he said he realized that he needed a toilet paper holder. And I thought it was kind of funny because we were kind of in the past making a joke that we thought the sink was looking more like a little toilet. And we told him we were done with the toilet jokes. And what's he do? He sends in toilet paper for us. But I think the idea about this is it doesn't matter how big your projects are. A little toilet holder stand is not overly complicated. But it's something that still is fun to do. Just building something, making something with your hands and cutting the wood and everything. You can't beat it. So your projects don't have to be big, folks. Send in your photos. We love it all. Steve Terry. Steve sent me these photos in before, and I'm sorry if I didn't get them on the other week, Steve. But Steve made these little Asian-style, like tea lamps. It has like the rice paper on it and everything. And you can see he's got the bridle joints that hold this together, which makes it very delicate, but it also can be very tedious work. I imagine he probably cut them by hand, and you have to fit them together. And so it looks really nice. I made one a year or two ago for that other show I was on. I Can Do That. And I had to make a little Asian little tea lamp light. But I like Steve's a lot better than what I did. So nice job there, Steve. And send us some more photos. Okay, we got another new person. And here's what I love. When I say this is stuff from all around the world. This is coming from Mexico. And so I'll probably screw your name up, but it's Daniel Antonio Oviedo. I hope that's right. But anyway, Daniel made this TV console. And Daniel is fairly new to woodworking. He has limited tools that he's working with. He likes to make stuff mostly for his family. His family has a restaurant down there. And so he's made some stuff for the family restaurant. And because of what he's made, he's got other people asking him to make stuff now too. So he just might make a job out of this. But I really was impressed with the console because I think he said he had limited materials besides the limited tools. And it looks like the doors or the cabinet doors they're kind of inset on it. I didn't zoom in on the picture. But at any rate, it looks really nice. And I think for a new person, pushing yourself to where you're increasing your skills without getting discouraged, it's always a good thing. It's the only way to get better is if you push yourself, but you can't expect, especially if it's the first time you're doing it, for it to come out perfect. So be lenient on yourself. But really nice job there, Daniel. Hope to see some more. Okay, going from Mexico, we're going to fly all the way over to Ireland. I seem to be talking a lot with Mark Fitzsimmons. I enjoy talking with all of you guys, but I enjoy talking with Mark. I think Mark is a highly skilled woodworker, carpenter. Last week he told us he was building 31 doors for a customer's home, and that just blew my mind. So he sent some photos this week of the house. Here you can see on this photo the outside construction of the house, the size of it, and then some of the work he's doing inside, all that, the panels and the wainscoting and so on. Just gorgeous work. But that's got to be tedious as well. But at any rate, Mark, I think it's fantastic. I definitely want to keep seeing more of what you got going on there. All right, let's turn the page, keep going. Oh, here's another fella new. Tony Bernamonte. Good? Is that all right, Tony? Do okay? Tony Bernamonte. So Tony has made these little log cabins for his granddaughter. And I don't have kids, I don't have grandkids, obviously, but I'm sure there's absolute joy and delight when you give your grandkids this. I know I've made stuff for kids in the neighborhood before, and the joy that they get from that, I can only imagine it's 10 times as wonderful when you're doing it for your grandkids. But, you know, all those little pieces that Tony had to cut to make the log cabins, pretty intricate, pretty detailed, definitely cool to look at. And this is kind of flattering. Tony said he watched the other show I'd done, the I Can Do That, and he made the workbench from there and the rocking chair that I did on the show. And I have to say, I was pretty proud of that show. It was a show where I had limited tools, was limited on the material, and yet I designed all the pieces so they were unique, original, and always different. Because after 60-some episodes, you can kind of get into the habit of repeating yourself. But apparently, Tony made a couple of things off of that show, so thank you very much, Tony. John Burks. John is a retired vet, so we want to say thank you to him from the Army. And he made this coffee table out of an old whiskey barrel. And I guess maybe at this moment I'm kind of glad Dan isn't here, because he'd probably be definitely oohing and ahhing over that. And it is super cool. He said for like a week his shop smelled of whiskey. That's a good smell, wood and whiskey together. And now, so he made this coffee table for a friend, and now the friend is asking for him to make a couple of end tables to go with it. And I can only imagine what that's going to look like. So John, please keep us up to date on it. Send us, I would love to see your like concept sketch, and then all the way through to the completed build if you could. That would be a lot of fun, so thank you. Another new person, and I'm saying new people because of two things. One, I am always truly pleased and honored the fact that people watch the show and then want to send their stuff into us. I can't thank you all enough. And I also want to say that I'm probably going to butcher your name, and if this is your first time watching the show, you just have to realize you're in an elite club if I screw up your name. So, okay, so it's Rogelio Silva, and he says, Rogelio says he mostly loves to work with the scroll saw, and he has a love of old video games. So it looks like he was able to combine the two. I'm not much of a video game guy, but I do think this medallion he made is from, I think, Mortal Kombat back in the 90s, possibly, I think. Not too bad, huh? And he made the cabinet to actually hold all his old video game equipment and stuff. And he says he loves to play the games with his 2-year-old daughter. So I think that's sweet. I wonder, I bet you that 2-year-old daughter could probably beat me in the video games. Anyhow, and once again, Dan is missing out on this because he says that he works for a beer distributor and he's the truck driver for them. And I imagine if Dan was here, he'd probably try and be a stowaway on that truck. So, and just letting you know, if you found a drunk person in the back of your trailer, send them home to me, okay? All right, so now we are going to go over to Finland. And Esko was on last week, and again, the name is Esko Vitrovaro. I know it's wrong. I'm sorry, but anyways, Finland is a beautiful country, and most people probably don't know this, but I travel a lot. I love to travel. I've been to so many places around the world, and I've been to Finland twice. It's a beautiful country, and I know it's not like the popular tourist destinations, like Cancun and all that other stuff, but if you're into traveling and if you like seeing new things, go to that country. It's gorgeous. But Esko made this. He said it was a spatula. Kind of looked more like a spoon to me. But just look at the detail on this thing. He said he does it by hand. It's just absolutely gorgeous. And it looks like the way he was able to attach the two different pieces. I don't know. It's just very neat. What was really nice, too, is he said he made this for a cancer patient at the hospital. And I've had some people in my family has had cancer, and it's a terrible disease, and they really need all the encouragement and support that they can get. So I thought that was very nice of Esko to do that. I'm sure it made that person's day. All right, let's get off of that downer note. That's kind of bringing me down. Okay, I think this is another new person. Mark Corso. He made this tool cabinet, and again, he makes it from reclaimed material. He got the cedar from a friend's house. I think he said it was from the outside of the house, so he kept that whole aged, weathered look to it. And this was new to me. He said for the drawers, you can see he's got the dovetail drawers on it and everything, and the wood that he used for the drawers was camphor wood, and he said that helps as a rust inhibitor. And I thought, wow, that's pretty neat. I never heard of that wood, didn't know that was possible. I don't really worry too much about my tools rusting here because I really use them so much. If you're using them all the time, like the oil from the hands and stuff, I think do a nice job. I do have some that I will put a little bit of wax on to help keep rust from forming on them. But one of the key things of keeping rust off is to get all the sawdust, the wood shavings out of them, because that wood still has moisture in it, and that can cause the tool to rust. But I think Mark said he was down there in Tampa, Florida, so I imagine the humidity can get pretty high, and that probably plays havoc with the tools as well. But anyways, that was neat, something new I learned. And he also said if I'm ever down that area to look him up, so you just might want to be careful, Mark. You might hear a knocking on your door one evening. So, okay, good friend of mine, Frank Byers. Frank sent in this wonderful little story. So what it is there's these dog owners, Mark and Nancy Miller, and they took a puppy that had a born defect. The one leg was deformed, just didn't grow, and so I think this was to raise money for the Humane Society. There was a costume contest. And so Frank turned this little pirate leg for the dog. And, here's the photo. It's adorable. And I definitely wanted to tell that part about the dog having already a deformed leg, so no one thought this was cruelty to the animal. And I don't know, he didn't say or not if the dog won first place or not, but I just kind of thought that was a nice little story, bringing attention to the animals, Frank being able to put woodworking into this, and of course it's a cute picture. Can't go wrong with cute. So Frank did a blog on this whole thing, so I will include that in the description if anyone would like to go there and read more on the story, but definitely that was pretty neat. Let's see what else we got here. Okay, so we've been doing the show, I think, since March. Every week since March. And without a doubt, Kevin Delk has been on every episode except last week. And I was really surprised, because we often joke, the Kevin Delk Show, because he's building so much and always sending stuff in. He wasn't on last week. And I had joked in the past that Kevin's... he's good, he's fast, and I was making jokes. He must have been like a space alien, space technology and that. So when he wasn't on last week, I go, well, there you are. he went up to the mothership for more advanced training in alien technology, so he's back. So Kevin made this flag. It has the blue stripe, the one big blue stripe in the middle. I believe that's for the police officers, maybe wounded in combat, the police officers, but I know it has to do with the police officers. Kevin is a retired vet from the Navy too, so Kevin's very patriotic, and it's a nice project that he did there. So thank you, Kevin. Good to have you back. Brian Potter. Brian Potter made this little keepsake box with finger joints. Now, I know everybody kind of loves dovetails. We've been doing the dovetail series here. The dovetails, everyone thinks they're so strong, and they are strong. It's a strong joint, don't get me wrong. But a finger joint is just or even more strong than the dovetail. And the reason being is because you get all that gluing surface, that edge grain gluing surface there, and they're incredibly strong joints. And I imagine by looking at that maybe Brian did it on the table saw. I didn't ask. I know you can do it on table saw or router, but the finger joints look pretty small. I'm guessing maybe he did it on the table saw. But at any rate, nice little project, kind of fun thing to do. If you haven't done a finger joint before, go ahead and give it a try. I think you'll have fun with it. But Brian clearly did it. And Brian said in his email that he's no relation to Harry Potter. And that's kind of good on my part, because I figured if I screwed his name up or something, he'd put like some kind of magic spell on me. So, anyhow. Okay, so last week, Peter James sent in some photos of a mandolin that he was making. And, instrument making has got to be one of the highest forms, in my opinion, one of the highest forms of woodworking, because not only does it have to look good, not only is it very detailed, but it has to be just right for the music to sound good. So, especially like violin makers. Well, that's out of this world. But at any rate, Peter is retired, and he now teaches classes on making these mandolins. And last week, Dan and I were just joking. Dan threw it out there. Hey, maybe Peter could write us a song for closing. And he did. He did. So we will play that at the end of today's episode. So I'm thanking you right now in advance, Peter. Kind of cool. I started, maybe this will be a trend. All you woodworkers out there that play in bands or play instruments, if you wanna send in a song to us, we will. We'll put your name and credits at the end and play your music. So, something new we'll try here. So thank you, Peter. Another new person. Again, heads up, gonna screw your name up. Erskine Carter. He's been doing woodworking since 1964. He's retired, has a shop, and he made this cabinet for his wife that has the tambour door on it, which is like the roll top. You remember the old roll top desks? So he made one of these for his wife. He said he did it all himself. It's pretty nice looking. I don't want my wife to see any of these projects you guys are showing, because she's going to start bugging me to make all this stuff. But, I think making something for your wife is like the perfect excuse to do some woodworking. Anyhow, I thought that was a nice job you did there, and thank you for sending your photos in to us. All right, now, the next one, I've really been having a lot of fun following this and talking with this fella. This is Andrew Pritchard. And he's been building this cabinet. Started off with his SketchUp drawing on the computer, went to making the curved legs. Last week he made the stretcher that goes in the middle, and he had to do it in sections because his lathe wasn't long enough. And so now he's joining the stretcher to the legs. It's gluing up. And I think this thing is looking so cool. It's really looking neat. And I told him I'm overly anxious to see the next step on it. So it's really neat to see your guys' stuff come to life, and I feel like I'm with you on the build. In fact, Andrew's wrote me a couple times with some questions on it, and I'm doing my best to help everyone with questions on their projects as they go. So, Ricky Jacobs. Ricky, I've been talking with Ricky for probably a couple years now. Ricky is in the Navy, and many times I'll send an email or something to him, and I won't hear from him for a while because he's been deployed, and they have to keep all that secret. We understand, we respect that, but Ricky's making this flag box and shadow box for a friend of his that's retiring from the Navy, and Ricky said that this individual has really helped him, taught him things, helped him deal with different situations and problems. He said he really looks up to this fellow, which is great. That's fantastic, and I think he will be thrilled to see the walnut flag box that you made for him. And he did flocking on the inside, and he said he watched the video I did over there on Popular Woodworking. I'll see if I can find it and put a link in the bottom on using flocking. And so what it is it looks like felt or like velvet, but it's a powder. And so you kind of, if you want like the inside of a jewelry box or something, you put this glue on, and then you literally blow this little felt powder in, and then when it dries, it gets down into everything, and it looks great. So he did that on the inside of this, and so far it's looking pretty amazing. Okay, so we haven't had this for a couple of weeks, but we have a new entry for Spotlight of the Week. Yes, this is coming from Don Bullock, and Don's has the WB Woodworking there. Now, Don's been doing his own woodworking since 1970, which is when I was born. So Don's been at this a long time. But he actually learned woodworking from his father back in the 50s and 60s. And he loves arts and crafts style, especially green and green furniture, which is one of my favorites. We talked about green and green, I think, a couple weeks ago on this show or Wednesday show, one of them. He was from Texas. They moved to California. When they moved in 2008, he built this shop. There's a video there at his website that shows the whole process of the shop being built. I'm quite envious of it at this point, Don. But Don really takes pride in his woodworking that he's doing, and so he's got his website up. He's got his videos, and so we'll put a link to his YouTube, his Facebook, Instagram. So if you guys want to go over there and kind of check out what he's doing. But I had to ask him, I said, Don, why is it called WB Woodworking? And he said that was the initials of his father, his grandfather, and his brother. So I thought that was pretty sweet, to pay honor to them. So at any rate, you guys have done it in the past, and just ask that you take a moment, go over there, look at his stuff, maybe send him a word of encouragement or whatever. I know we all could use it. You guys have been great to me. Let's show him what we can do. So, all right, that is it. That was all the entries for this week. So normally this is where I kind of wrap it up, but I'm just going to give you a little heads up here. So the Wednesday show that we do, that we've been calling After Hours Woodworking, I probably will not get to it this week. I'll let you know, I've got 3 cabinet cut downs to do in here for a couple of contractors. I still got that house kitchen that I'm working on. Just got to wrap some stuff up in there. And those offices, well, I got the green light to paint the offices, which is a big job. So I'm going to be putting in some long hours, in the shop and on the job site. So I probably won't get to this Wednesday's, which I'm disappointed because I had stuff prepared to tell you guys and show you some stuff. But I'm sorry, it's probably going to have to go to the week after. But I do have this coming Friday's video already filmed. I'm editing it now, continuing the series on dovetails. Last week we talked about marking the bores and getting the orientation, all that right. This week we're going to be talking about the dovetail angles, and I show you 2 different ways to lay out the spacing for the tails and pins. So check that out on Friday. So okay, until then, on behalf of myself and Safety Dan, who hopefully will join us here next week, thanks for watching. And if you want your pictures, that's right, if you want your pictures on the show, or if you want to be spotlight of the week, make sure you email them to me at stantonfinefurniture@gmail.com. We'll make sure to get you and your work on here for everyone to see. So until then, keep on dancing.